Hello! So I started this series of how to get everything done and have time for yourself. And today I'm going to talk about tip number 2. So yesterday I talked about tip number 1, which was finding out your big why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you living your life? Like, what is your passion? What is driving you? So once you kind of have that figured out, or at least an idea, and you're working towards figuring that out, the next tip I have is to clarify your roles and your goals. What does that even mean? So everyone wears lots of hats. Everyone has lots of roles. And it's really important that you figure out what it is expected of you for each of those roles, because you're going to have competing expectations. For example, your house is a mess. You're having people over for dinner soon. Your kids are asking you to play with them. Your husband would like to sit down and talk to you about this house that you want to buy. You know your mom's available to talk right now and you haven't talked to her in a while, and you'd really like to exercise because that just makes you feel sane. These are all these things right now. How do you prioritize? How do you get all of those things done and then still have go time to do whatever you wanted it to do? So I'm going to read my notes because it's really important. We will always have endless things to do and expectations to meet if we allow everyone else to define what they need from us. What do I mean by that? Everyone is always going to be asking things of us, and that's okay. What we need to do is decide what we're able to offer and what it is that we want to do. Because again, there's just constant need, especially as a mom, right? And our husbands have needs, and our parents, our neighbors, everyone. So I really think that it's important to pause a minute and figure out what your roles are and what your goals of those roles are. It seems like a basic concept, well, I'm a mom, I should raise my kids. What does that even mean? What does being a good mom look like to you? So I actually was really struggling with this a couple years ago. So in one of my journals, I've got so many journals, I wrote out, I am a good mom when, and then I just started listing all these things. I'm a good mom when I pray with my kids. I'm a good mom when I am intentional about feeding them healthy foods. I'm a good mom when I spend quality time with my kids. Those are just very specific things. So I'm a mom is my role, and my goal is to do those things with my kids because that's what makes me feel like a good mom. All of us are going to have different expectations put on us, but we decide what makes us a good mom, what makes us a good wife, what makes us a good hostess. We get to decide that. God has given us free will and He's given us expectations, but ultimately we get to fill in those blanks with our uniqueness and our talents and our desires and our passions, which is why it's so important to start out by having what your big why is, what is driving you, so that way you can move on to be okay, so I know what's driving me, here are my roles, and what is it that's expected of me. So as a challenge to you, I think that'd be really good to choose one of your roles, let's say a mom, and you fill in the blank. I am a good mom when I fill in the blank. And try to list out 3 or 4 things. So all this goes back to getting things done so you can have time for yourself. Because when you don't quantify what is expected of you, you are always going to feel like you are not doing what you're supposed to and that you're not getting things done when you actually maybe are. If your role as a wife is to spend some quality time with your husband every day, and you've already sat with him and had coffee this morning, and he's asking you for things and your kids are asking, you can be okay, babe, just need you to hold on a second. I need it. You can prioritize. You know what's expected of you. And so that also allows you to be you know what? I've spent time with my husband. I've spent time with my kids. It's now time for me to go on my run. Or, for example, that scenario I talked about before, I chose to go for a run because when I've exercised, it just makes me feel so much better that I can like take on a lot more. I can get the house clean faster. I can hear what my husband has to say about the house. I can play with my kids better. We all have certain things that are important to us. So identify that one role. Maybe it's, I am a good wife when and I'll put this in the description as well so you can fill it out. Once you've listed those things out, create the goals for that role. So that way during your day, you can figure out, okay, have I accomplished this? Have I worked towards what makes me feel like good in this role? And then if you have, then maybe take that extra time that you were going to clean the house or do something and just take it for yourself. Nobody is going to create space for you. You have to create that space for yourself. No one's going to be like, you should really take some time for yourself and relax and do whatever you want. It's not going to happen. We have to create that because people are going to constantly be asking, and that's okay that they are. That's what boundaries are for. So we decide what it is we want to offer, and then we decide, you know what, now is time for me time. I'd love to hear what your comments are and questions regarding this topic. I know it's a little hard to think about, like, wait, so it seems pretty basic that I should decide what I want to give. But so often we live our life just on autopilot, just reacting to all these needs. So again, I suggest this pause. And as a life coach, this is what I get to do. For 30 minutes a week, I pause with a woman and we talk about what their life is looking like and what they want it to look like. Then we figure out an action plan. It's a really neat opportunity. Here is an awesome opportunity for you to just pause for a minute. I mean, you're on social media, so you have a minute, right? Think about that one role and think about, I'm a good fill in the blank role when I fill in the blank. And then I really encourage you to accomplish that. And then once you've done that, feel like you've completed it and then create space for that time for yourself so you can go do whatever it is that makes your heart sing. I hope you have an amazing Saturday, and I look forward to chatting with you guys tomorrow about the third tip that I have for getting things done and having time for yourself. And tomorrow is a new way to look at time. So if we spent time like we spent money, we'll talk about it. Have a great day.